We're going to start this week by talking about deaf awareness. Deaf awareness is about being aware of the challenges that deaf people face in their everyday lives and trying to change the environment around us to make communication easier. There are around 11 million people living in the UK who are deaf or hard of hearing, and around 900,000 of those people are severely or profoundly deaf. It's estimated that around 24,000 people use British Sign Language to communicate. Now seems like the perfect time for us all to become a little bit more deaf aware. Communication is about an exchange of information. It's a two-way process that involves one person sending a message and another person receiving that message, understanding it and responding to it appropriately. There are various different ways that we can communicate, from talking to signing to writing to using non-verbal communication such as pointing, facial expression and body language. Unfortunately, communication can break down on a daily basis for deaf people. Depending on a deaf person's level of hearing loss, they may not be able to hear speech at all, or they may have limited access to speech. Trying to pick out speech versus other background noise can also be very difficult and can lead to deaf people becoming more tired and more frustrated. Some deaf people will rely on lip reading in order to understand what another person is saying. However, this is very dependent on how clear the speaker's lip patterns are and whether the speaker is looking at the deaf person when they are talking to them. Again, having to focus on somebody's lip patterns for any length of time can be extremely exhausting and can lead to further frustration.
Communication can break down whether you are hearing or have a hearing loss. It's hard for anyone to get all of the information all of the time. Communication can break down when information is misheard, when only part of the information is heard, or when the message or information is not understood. This could be due to the environment around you or as a result of not understanding the words or vocabulary that have been used. Deaf children often have gaps in their vocab, as they can often miss out on incidental language learning. This occurs naturally when hearing people overhear speech that isn't directed to them. This overhearing helps to build a child's vocab. And interestingly, very young children gain about 90% of their knowledge of words incidentally. So when some deaf children mishear part of the information or the message, they often don't have the vocab to fill in those gaps, and this leads to a breakdown in communication. It's always good to try and repair the breakdown by clarifying, simplifying and rephrasing, or repeating the message or information that's been said. Or you could try another mode of communication, such as writing the message down or using gesture. But the most important thing is that when the communication breaks down, is that you don't give up and keep on trying.
We will now demonstrate how we can easily make changes to our environment to ensure more effective communication for people with a hearing loss.
Please, can I have a snack? Please, can I have a snack?
Face the person you are talking to. Always face the person you are talking to and get down to their level so that they are able to see your face clearly. Try not to move around too much, as this will make it harder to hear your voice and will make lip reading much more difficult.
What would you two like for dinner?
Pasta and sticky rice.
So, Eddie, what would you like for dinner?
I like some sticky rice.
Sticky rice and anything else?
Pasta.
Sticky rice and pasta. And Kitty, what would you like?
Fish and chips and sticky rice.
Fish and chips and sticky rice. Great.
Speak one at a time. Group conversations and talking over each other can be difficult for a deaf person to follow. Make it easier by taking turns when talking.
be.
Can we get a dog, please?
Please, can we go to the beach in the summer?
Can we get a dog, please?
Please, can we go to the beach in the summer?
Speak clearly and naturally. Shouting, speaking too quickly or too slowly can distort your lip patterns and make lip reading much more difficult. Try to speak clearly and naturally to allow someone with a hearing loss to hear what you have said and have a better chance at being able to read your lips.
Can we have pizza for tea? Can we have pizza for tea?
Watch your mouth. Try not to cover your mouth when talking, as this will not only affect the clarity of your speech, but it makes lip reading impossible and also impacts on your facial expression.
I love pizza and donuts. I love pizza and donuts.
Reduce background noise. Ensure the best possible listening environment by reducing background noise as much as possible and finding a quiet space to talk. As we mentioned earlier, it can be a struggle for people with a hearing loss to pick out speech from other background noises. Turn off the TV and radio if you are at home and move away from loud noises such as machinery and traffic if you are out in the community.
Today we went for a walk and we looked at the different types of trees. Can I have crackers with butter and for lunch, please?
Stand with your face to the light. Standing in a window or in poor lighting makes it difficult to see your lip patterns and facial expression. Try switching positions and stand facing the light to make lip reading easier.
Harry Potter does magic. Harry Potter does magic.
Wearing face masks. As a result of the coronavirus pandemic, more people are now wearing face masks for safety, and this is causing a whole new challenge for deaf people. As you can imagine, this makes lip reading impossible and speech is much less clear, so trying to hear through the masks is also very difficult. Masks are a real barrier to communication, and communication breakdown is going to be inevitable. This will lead to deaf people feeling isolated, frustrated, and lacking in confidence and self-esteem during communication interactions. Now more than ever, it's important that we try to support people who are deaf by using alternative forms of communication. We can help by trying to learn some BSL Sign Language. There are lots of free apps and family sign sessions available online. Try and remember to take a pen and some paper out with you so that you can write things down or write a text message with the information you want to get across. You can also use visual cues such as gesture, pointing, pictures, objects, and showing the other person what you mean. Some other important points to remember. If you are trying to communicate with a person who has a hearing loss, make sure you gain their attention first by gently tapping their arm or shoulder or moving into a position where they can see you. Make sure you get down to the same level as the person with a hearing loss and gain eye contact before you speak.
My favourite film is Star Wars. And my favourite film is Frozen 2. My favourite film is Frozen 2. My favourite film is Star Wars.
The most important thing to remember is to be patient and to keep trying. Don't assume that someone with a hearing loss has heard what you've said or has been able to lip read. Be prepared to repeat what you've said if necessary and to reword and rephrase if that's needed. Use alternative modes of communication such as visual strategies including pointing, gesture, texting on your phone or using pen and paper. And always remember to use your facial expression and body language to fully convey your message.